UCF traveled to Florida, and Florida got exactly what they needed, a win in which I thought they played a pretty complete football game. Maybe Florida fans will be picky or whatever, but as complete of one as they've played all season. I mean,
Yeah.
Graham Mertz and Lagway were 23 of 27 passing. You ran for 130 yards. You were 6 of 13 on third down. You got 5 sacks. KJ Jefferson looked horrible. And you got to win against a team that you needed to get a win against if you're Billy Napier. And I'm not saying, oh, all of a sudden Florida's going to turn the corner because their schedule does not get easier. But definitely a good win for Florida and proves that this team still has talent on it and they can win football games. On the UCF side, though, yeah, I'm concerned with the way that KJ Jefferson's playing the last 2 games. They've kind of gotten shut down in the run game, specifically RJ Harvey, Penny Boone. I mean, which was kind of what they relied on a lot. And that game against TCU, that comeback win's looking worse and worse as we're going along. And TCU's defense just might be one of the worst in Power Five this season. So yeah, UCF moving forward, I'm a little bit disappointed with the play of uh, their defense, specifically their defensive line. I think in the last couple of weeks, their secondary has just been torched, and that was just such a concern going into the season. And that reality is kind of playing itself out, and that was probably the reason that I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take this over on their win total or a future or anything like that. But yeah, and it seems like they have an identity, but when you take that away from them, I don't know that they got anything else left in the bag. And part of this, their success too, it's like they need to control the football more. And they didn't dominate the time of possession against Colorado. In this game, they only had on the ball for 27 minutes. Most of the time, the ball was in Florida's hands. I mean, 4 of 12 on third down. Just yeah, I'm a little bit concerned for UCF moving forward because I'm also seeing some other teams in the Big 12 that I think are playing pretty well.
Yeah, you mentioned this was exactly what Florida needed. And how about coming out with a 15-play touchdown drive? I think, and like you do too, and we continue to echo, Graham Mertz is the best chance for Florida to win football games as it stands right now in 2024. And this was a game they needed to win. Obviously, Miami and Texas A&M kind of gave you the business a couple times at home, and now, right, you get a big time win. Obviously, it's not a conference win. It's not over a top 10 football team, but it's big, and nonetheless, it helps. We see a couple coaches in the SEC get some wins this week that were massive for them. I think they can kind of take a breath, take a breather, regroup, get ready for the rest of SEC play. And as for UCF, like you said, disappointment, disappointment, disappointment. It's 2 straight weeks now. You've kind of done it in that first half. Last week against Colorado, you got down big early. This week against Florida, you get down early. And like we said, with them controlling the football, running the ball well, those are things that you can't really do when you're down big points. And you're down double-digit halftime leads. That's not going to happen. That's not like the recipe for success. And as for UCF, KJ Jefferson is at his best running downhill when he has good running backs around him and an offensive line playing well, not when he's dropping back to pass. He does not have the best pocket presence. Yes, he is massive. Yes, he can avoid sacks, but I don't want him just in straight drop back sets. I want him RPO. I want him on the move. I want to hand the ball off to two really good running backs in RJ Harvey and Penny Boone. And I will say I do think Florida might give him more problems than maybe they will see in the Big 12 just up front, potentially with their size and physicality they have. But again, they couldn't do it against Colorado, right? They couldn't really get in rhythm either in that game. And looking forward, you got Cincinnati, who's a lot better than people think, and then you get a couple of the better teams are at the top of the Big 12 standings in BYU and Iowa State in a couple of weeks. So it doesn't get easier for UCF. Obviously, the good news is it's not a conference game. It's not going to really affect them in the Big 12 standings. But again, one you would have loved to see, not only for this season, not only for your record, potentially improving your bowl game or whatever else it may be, but also in terms of recruiting, in terms of development of the program. UCF was a team, I think, going into the season who had a ton of momentum. And with Florida State struggling, UCF and Florida State and Florida struggling early on, UCF was one of the teams that was trying to push their way to the top of, of the state of Florida, right? And moving to the Big 12 and getting momentum there, recruiting well, and all this other good stuff. And it kind of been halted the past couple weeks on some big national TV football games with Colorado playing, obviously a lot of eyes on them, and then also in-state rivalry game here with Florida. So kind of back to the drawing board for Gus Malzahn, UCF. I'm not giving up on him. I'm not, writing them off in the Big 12, but things have to change offensively, I think, especially defensively. It is what it is. It's kind of a personnel problem, I think, right now. But offensively, you have the personnel to be scoring more than 3 points in the first half.